Hey guys, Tim Bratz here, doing a site visit in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm actually in Parma, Ohio, which is my hometown where I originally grew up, and checking out a development site that we're in the process of doing some cool stuff on. So I thought I'd bring you out here, show you a little bit around, and give you some background on it, let you know what we're looking to do, and so that way it gives you some perspective on some cool things that you could do if you know of any sites like this. So in 2019, someone I knew from social media, and actually someone that went to high school with me, had a retail business here in town, and they said, hey, I'm interested in doing something with this property and expanding my location and all this other stuff. And I gave her some insights and offered some feedback, and then that translated into me becoming a partner and essentially being a funder potential funder of the project. And so this is 2019. We found this site, which is in a high traffic area of Parma. And the coolest part of it is that it's on the Metro Parks. The Metro Park system in Cleveland is one of the most amazing, well manicured, beautifully taken care of park systems in the entire country. They call it the Emerald Necklace, and it drapes all around greater Cleveland area. And this Metro Park, which is West Creek Reservation, is, I think it's about 330 acres of trails, hiking trails, biking trails, dog walking trails. There's an awesome watershed and a lot of other cool stuff here, multiple pavilions and all sorts of stuff. So there's a lot of people, and it's like right in the center of Parma, which is a community of around 90,000 people that live here, 80 to 90,000 people. And so it's got a primo location. And when this girl brought it to me, I said, hey, I like what you're doing, I like your style, and I'm not interested in being part of the business, but I'll buy the real estate and partner up with you that way. And so she wanted to contract the property, we contracted the property, and we were working on a lot of different things in parallels in early 2020. And so the property was under contract, and then COVID hit. And being in the retail business, she got kind of locked up and was very, very spooked by what was going on due to COVID. And so was kind of like, hey, I need to focus on my primary business right now. But the contract was up on this, right? I had hard earnest money up, and we were set to close on it at the end of March in 2020. So I raised the private money, gathered the funds, and we still closed on this despite what was happening with COVID. And you can kind of tell, but all this gravel area was a 100-year-old beat up restaurant bar, dive bar kind of a setup, and it was really junk. And so when we closed on it, again, she was focused on her retail operation. We closed on the real estate, trying to see how things shook out. We kind of let it run its course for a little bit, and then as things calmed down with COVID, we were able to kind of regroup again, and she was, brought that interest back. We talked to the city, and the city actually was willing to give us a grant. Actually, they did it, just on their own dime, but they demoed this property for us because they love the concept of putting a restaurant right here on this piece of property. We talked to the Metro Parks. They talked about doing some fun stuff. The city and the Metro Parks with some streetscaping over here, and potentially even bringing a trail up through the Metro Parks to the back. And we had an awesome plan in place. And the idea was originally to be about $3.5 million budget. The deal kind of morphed, and unfortunately, the budget came back at a lot more than what we originally targeted. And unfortunately, just the way that things shook out, it was a lot of a risk. A big time of a risk for what it was, for the amount of money that was going in and the amount of upside or lack thereof on the tail end. And so went back to the drawing board, back and forth for a couple of years, trying to tighten up the budget, and we just couldn't come to terms on that. It was just way too much risk. And then all of a sudden interest rates rose and construction loans tightened up because a lot of the construction loans over the past few years all of a sudden weren't being refinanced out because a lot of those developers couldn't refinance at the rates that they thought that they were going to be able to refinance at. So now the banks have limited liquidity because they're not being paid back. The loans that are in default or over timeline are all construction loans. So if there were 30 banks that would have given us a loan on this 2-3 years ago, there was about 3 banks today, and all of them were like, hey, the cap that I can give you is about $2 million, and the budget just didn't work out for what she wanted to do, what the banks were willing to do, the amount of risk that I was willing to take or not willing to take, and unfortunately we came to terms and said, hey, listen, we just can't move forward with that idea. And so you can either tighten up the budget, or I'll sell you the land, you can handle it yourself and take on that risk yourself, but I can't be part of it. And so that kind of unfortunately fell off, and she went in one direction, we decided to go in another direction, and we listed the property. So we listed the property at the beginning of the summer of 2023 to see how much traffic and excitement we could get. And there's a lot of people who want the property. It's 2 acres right here. So it goes into the woods quite a bit too. But due to it, here, let's go under the tree so we don't get all wet. But due to the city already kind of being sold on the mindset that this would be a restaurant, that's like all they want. They don't want a gas station, they don't want a nursing home, they don't want anything else. So we're kind of pigeonholed into finding a restaurant tenant to do this. So looking at a couple different options, and because that tightens us up, here's the thing, sometimes it's not ideal, but you just have to build something out yourself, right? If things don't go the right way and you can't find somebody to do their part, you just gotta do it yourself. And so that's kind of where we're at right now. If it doesn't sell, I've decided I'm just gonna build out my own facility right here. That's gonna be awesome, beautiful, and simple, and keep it inside that original budget, hopefully $2.5–3 million at most. And then find a fantastic operator to come in and operate it, or shit, I'll even build out my own team if I have to. So we're in that process right now of talking with engineers, talking with architects, and the lesson here is not everything plays out the way that you hope it will. Not everything follows the perfect breadcrumb trail in order to get you to where you want to be. And a lot of times you got to go off-road and find a better path to that final end destination. And so that's what happened here. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. She's an amazing person and has an amazing business. It just didn't play out like with where the market is, with where banking is, and with how much risk we would have had to take on in order to make that happen. So instead, she went in her direction, we're going in our direction, and I'm just gonna build it out myself. So by the way, if you know anybody who wants to open up, a cafe, a wine and beer bar, a restaurant, kind of like light restaurant, I'm planning on building out an awesome sort of a pavilion style vibe that's big, open, wide open, so you could host events there with some glass accordion doors that open up overlooking the beautiful metro parks, with an awesome patio deck area for people to hang out. And that's going to be the plan, and just simple, keep the cost as low as possible, so that way we can hit the revenue targets, hit the NOI targets, in order to ensure our investors get paid very, very well for coming into this deal. And we shouldn't have any issue getting bank financing for the size of a deal that we want to do. And it's primo real estate. It's going to be a brand new property in an A-class location. We'll put long-term permanent financing, fixed rate financing in place. We can manage the real estate in-house, and it's something that you could really hold forever, that you want to hang on to and be part of the portfolio of, kind of the front of the brochure, one of the really, really nice properties in our portfolio that has a lot of attention, has a lot of eyeballs on it, and people are excited to be part of. So gives you a little bit of an example of a deal that did not go the way that we hoped it would, kind of got sidetracked, but we got it back onto path, and we're gonna make a success out of it regardless. So appreciate you. If you have any deals that you're dealing with, I'd love feedback. If you have any ideas about what's going on, or some things that I can do here, I'd love to hear your ideas. And if you know of a great operator who might want to partner with us to operate cafe, wine bar kind of a vibe here in this amazing location, please hit me up, make an introduction, and maybe I'll even kick you a little bonus commission or equity in the deal. So Appreciate you. Please like, please subscribe, please share the video. And until next time, be your best.